Well, good afternoon, morning, or evening, depending where you are, and welcome to this off-season competitive league OC Derby, let's call it that, with six going against ANZR. We should be flipping the map in like 30 seconds, so we'll start momentarily. And today we are going to be watching the game from the sixth side. The game is played on Kursk, a really interesting map for, first of all, for infantry, because a lot of open spaces with high grass as a cover and endless trenches on the one hand. On the other hand, also an interesting map to watch for armor place, because you can see from some points the whole map end to end. Okay, so the map just flipped. Let me find my squad. Okay. Here we go. Welcome to Kursk. So windmills is going to be our midpoint tonight. Um, a very interesting midpoint with a lot of open space on the both sides, while the three windmills are kind of in an elevated position, with the trench system from Axis side coming from the south, and these trenches are the ones used to push, and with basically just a little bit of ground elevation, high grass, and a lot of broken armor on the other side, with a small kind of village compound to the east. And yeah, we expect a lot of armor action, a lot of basically holding your position, holding your ground, infantry fights, people trying to cross, etc., etc. So both teams are now making their way to the wall. Let's watch the opener from the sixth side. Guys are getting ready. In terms of armor, we have one medium on the main road here, light tank and recon tank moving to the western map edge. Another recon on the far eastern side, also on the map edge. And yeah, SPA on the map reminds me that I need to refresh off-season competitive league rules for you uh, if you don't know the league that well. So basically, what we have is no flares. Any type of flares is prohibited. No static RT, so there will not be any RT in the HQs. RT will be only SPA based. And apart from that, the usual indestructible nodes. So based on the Lux firing sounds we just heard, oof, pretty close. And this rocket snipe goes in. Watching all the rockets come in made me lose my speech a little bit. So ANZR basically loses a bunch of people out of one of the trucks on the approach to windmills, but they are still first to the point. Recon tank holding a couple of squad leads drives into the point, as well as the truck and 6 is occupying the eastern side of windmills pretty fast. ANZR on their side, bunched up in that trench, trying to cross the open road. Tank shells coming in from ANZR's armor, moving pretty close to windmills. Westy is protecting the crew of Usirio, Smokey, and Swirl, staying behind, making sure that no infantry sneaks in the back. The point so far that was going in 6 way first now swings back to NZR and now swinging back to 6th again. NZR armor is taking multiple rockets. A ricochet from the first seconds of the game. Pretty intense fighting for this midpoint. SPA smoke rounds coming down from both sides. Here's a broader look on what's happening. 6th at the moment with a couple of bodies inside the strong point, holding ANZR from trying to cross those crossfields to the north and get in. At the same time, we see a couple of squads here pushing in from the map edge side. Radical, Microphone, and the guys. They will not meet much of resistance, just one ANZR cell on the other side. And it looks like 6th is going to be the first to cap. I think there was a truck that goes up. We see a tank for ANZR firing way in the back here. Is that a tank? Oh, it's the SPA. SPA that takes around in the side and goes out with a kaboom. Let's take a quick look at the map. So ANZR punched up across the hill, trying to push through the grass. A couple of SLs on this side, on Yamki, I believe that's place is called. Let's take a look. But so far, 6th with the confident control over the middle of the map. ANZR lost a bunch of people in the truck that was approaching the windmills. And now the point is going to 6th. They're going to be the first to cap. Now they have to hold it and keep pushing. Okay. We still have ANZR armor up front. 2 tanks here. Who do we have? Sirius taking Lux fire to the side. And Ninji goes with the guys. Lux seems to be retreating, using a bit of glass cover lockdown at the same time, approaching the tank from the back. Rockets and SPA rounds keep flying in. What's up with this Lux? Let's take a look. Who do we have here? Leb in a 2-man Lux, using a bit of elevation, trying to hide from the tank shells from the other side, from windmills, basically looking into the grass that approaches windmills from the front door. And it looks like ANZR have most, if not all, of their forces on the windmill's front door, with just one OP that I can see so far in front of their fourth point. Lux is getting approached by ANZR's infantry. They are right in front of one another, probably not knowing yet. Not knowing yet they are so close. Who was that? And the Nickens and his tank crew went basically 20 meters in front of the Lux. I think Lux got intel from other cells that there's a tank up here. Trying to take them down while taking a couple of rockets to the side and then a return fire from that tank. So Leb is no more with their Lux. And guys here are still alive. They're gonna try and wrap, though 6th Infantry is dangerously close. Let's go back to the windmills and take a look at what's going on over here. Well, tank that was there went down. Dirty Bird, Killer Vintage, Bin Chickens, and their squads are trying to push front door. Rockets are sailing into windmills because windmills give great elevation points for MGs, for riflemen to look into the weed, not the weed, to look into the grass and basically snipe anyone trying to approach. Adrenaline and his crew holding the trenches here. This is how it looks like from the Adrenaline's POV. He's basically scanning the high grass for any movement, and as soon as ANZR guys pick their head, basically couple of pixels start to move that are different color from the grass around. You send a couple bullets in there and wait. Adrenaline ducks down, probably listening to the red chat or looking at the map. Killer Vintage and Nelson are close to him. ANZR so far is using the broken armor on the northern side of windmills as cover for their infantry, as cover for their OPs. Recon plane just flew over. And yeah, as we can see, still ANZR has most of their forces here in front of the windmills trying to retake that point back, while 6th is making a bit of a progress towards their fourth point. And there's a single garrison and not much else in terms of resistance for them approaching it. But at the same time, they need to work their way through all the trenches, all the grass. But they are already dangerously close for ANZR. Freaky here, engaging in trench warfare. That's what this map is so famous for, and also why a lot of players hate it. Spots a spawn wave in front of him, takes down one, but then goes down himself. Average, Avocado, and Pop and Fresh are gonna now try and clear those trenches. The messenger is pushing forward, basically entering the trench that leads him all the way into the strong cap. And there's almost nobody apart from the commander and one squad in front of him. We'll get back to windmills for a second and take a look at what's going on over here. For ANZR now, this is just a mid grind trying to cross that field with infantry in the trenches, with infantry in the windmills. Skidder sees bin chickens trying to approach. So here you're basically pinned behind that armor, trying to make a move. Maybe you need some smoke cover. Looks like the map edge is also lost by ANDR to Radigal, Rig Doctor Constantine, and the guys. Rig Doctor here using this broken tank as cover. Again, spotting any movement. We can see the guys communicating in proximity chat with one another, exchanging, I believe, um, explosive ammo. Yeah, basically a shooting range for six at this moment, because they don't need to push. They can just hold their angles, hold their positions, and try to basically get rid of any ANZR infantry approaching. I believe I just saw SP around destroying an outpost behind this tank. Many believe SPAs are kind of broken because they take out OPs, bringing teams to a huge disadvantage when that happens. And yeah, based on the map, Sixth basically cleared most of the presence that ANZR had in here. Bombing run is going over a garrison for bombing run is going over the garrison for ANZR. The guys spawning here will not have an easy time with immediately SPA shots falling in on top of their heads, with infantry sniping them immediately, and now a bombing run that's gonna take out what was remaining of that NF and the garrison itself. Well, 18 minutes into the game, and you can see that ANZR lost almost all the structure they had in front of windmills, and now they will have to reset and work their way back, pushing out from their fourth point. At the same time, who do we have here? Ace is almost right in the middle of the fourth point. His OP is up. Probably it's gonna be flooding with infantry hopping around any second now. Here's footsteps around him, probably. Took time with his shot. Slowly moving forward in the trenches. Rifle standoff between Ace and Don't Do It. I think both guys missed 3 or 4 shots already, and Don't Do It goes down to someone else's fire from the side. Ace is still alive, making his way further, looking for that garrison. Fish fingers in front of him in the bush. Ace hears the shots, tries to spot him, finds him in that greenery, and goes down long enough. He was uncontested inside the fourth point. And we see that the cap progress is already like 10-15% in favor of 6. They are in the trenches here and there. ANZR is trying to build a line to start pushing back. Don't see much of the armor on the map. We have a medium, I believe, here on the map edge, somewhere below us. Here we go. Nicely positioned, protecting by infantry. Looking into the fields, taking their time, and also having the visuals all the way back towards the HQs of ANZR in case any ANZR armor pops up. They'll have a shot across the map, protected by AP mines, having a rep station, and having an outpost nearby to act as radar for any incoming enemy infantry. Scarlet's a lonely SL here on the very map edge, pushing towards that armor, maybe trying to get an outpost up and get his guys to come in and satchel or rocket it. But while we were looking at that tank, it's almost 60% now in favor of 6 on the 4th point. Beerman, Tufts, Lil G going against a looks like a couple of full squads of ANZR infantry trying to make their way back into the strong point. Mark out. Mark D takes down one. Oh, Devs basically takes 3 people out, holding that trench from any approaching infantry. Spanky is holding this trench entrance. Reinforce is going down, and the point is so close to going in the 6th favor, but it was flickering for a second and now it's gone. ANZR loses 4th point basically 23 minutes into the game. Berman here goes down, taking fire through the smoke. Lil G is coming back for his position. Already taking people out, not even making it into the trench yet. Oof. Tough for ANZR. Basically, yeah, most of the forces now are gathering back there at the 5th, which is already threatened by infantry from the eastern side. 6 forces are pushing their way into the strong cap. Looks like this was the only hot trench for a minute here. We have a couple of guys on that side and not much else. We can see that 6th have tanks on both map edges, heavy snow teams on the western side, and that medium we looked at before with Yaz on the far eastern map edge. And basically from those map edges, they are looking all the way across these fields, across the 4th and 5th point, spotting infantry, spotting armor movements, spotting vehicle movement, and covering the whole map basically. So Let's see if ANZR can come back from this. With basically an hour left, they have plenty of time to trying to push back, to retake fourth, to maybe make a push for windmills, to maybe work with airheads. Soviets medium is moving to our left into the yards. Who do we have here? Davy and Zenix, and some of the gamer tags are unpronounceable for me. Anyways, looks like the guys are switching seats. Engineer is here to help, maybe to get the rep station up, I believe. And this tank is gonna use the buildings and the trees here probably as cover, knowing that Sixth has tanks on the both sides of the map. Probably they are now trying to scan the map, look for that map edge tank presence. At least they're looking at that direction. And Blue Chew is made his way around to place a satchel on this tank. Guys are jumping out, probably just in time to defuse that. Yep, satchel is gone, but that was close. Engineer, I think, is sticking nearby to protect the armor for ANZR. Map wise, ANZR just trying to push back front door through the trenches and the grass. There's a spotter in the truck going map edge towards that heavy. Not sure if he will succeed with that. Lab making his way, was making his way towards this tank, gets one rocket in. So yeah, this armor needs a bit of protection from six guys running in the background. Okay, let's go back to the fourth point and take a look at how the things are looking in here. Some action to the east, MG fire below us. Beerman positioned on this kind of wooden bridge running across the trench, looking into approaching Infi. We see that SPA, I believe it was an SPA that went down in the background. So far, doesn't seem like ANZR is very successful in pushing in. I think most of their forces are making their way through this trench. MG fire for Axis is a huge advantage in this on this map because you can easily find a spot with a lot of cover that will have a great view over the trenches, over the hills, and then just suppress the hell out of the incoming infantry. Kaiser and Rigdokta here working together back to back, clearing the trenches. One chance 96 looking for enemy infantry. Kaiser takes down one, takes down two, takes down Snappy, and I think he's gonna now push towards that OP, throwing nades. Pretty accurate net throw from Kaiser. OP's gone. Let's take a look at some armor positions at the moment. We have Commander Watt, Dingus, and Ryan here behind the fences and buildings, looking across the map, firing into the trenches. Not sure if they can see Nogs in the guy way there in the distance, but if they could, that would be hell of a duel. So basically, for the whole game, Sixth has two tanks on both sides of the map. On the map edges, one on windmills, one on map edge there, and they're not pushing their heavy armor further. The fourth point was now flickering for a second, but looking at the map, Sixth still has it under control. One chance, Nelson and Jab making their way through the trenches closer to the strong point. Axis supplies are dropping on the front door trenches, basically a couple meters from the red blue line. What we have so far is trench warfare. Let's check in on the tanks while not much is happening. A heavy here, still nice and cozy with 3 rep stations, Archangel, Lobster, and Nugs. Picking over the hill, taking a couple of shots, maybe looking for enemy armor somewhere in the back. On the other side of the map, we have here below us SPA and P4 are moving forward towards the fourth point. Yaz 101, Jarlunks, and Iron using the elevation of the landscape here to peek to then roll back and to stay covered. And on the very left side of the map, on the western side, also a very interesting setup here for Sign My Tank, White and Snow. Look at that, they are basically covered by a bunker, by armor remains, by a Belgian gate, and standing on top of 2 barricades. And that bunker also provides cover for 2 rep stations right in front of them. This is hell of a fortress for this tank. Shadowhawk, by the way, approaches it with a satchel. Is there steps on a mine? Yep. Purely a fortress built here for this heavy on the Um, on the eastern map edge, that Belgian gate, though, I think gave. I really apologize, guys. I got too excited by that setup and I missed six, taking almost 60% of the last fifth point for from ANZR. The western side of Kursk is now under heavy control of six. Airhead for, not sure if it's for them or for ANZR, is dropping down. While I was watching at the tanks, I missed this heavy push from sixth. I guess they pushed through the trenches right through the front door, and now they are like 90% close to getting the fifth point and ending this game. And I think there's nothing to stop them. Exactly. A pretty quick victory for sixth, 5-0. ANZR, to give a recap, basically didn't get close to holding windmills at the beginning, lost their truck to a truck snipe, then had a lot of forces at the front door, lost that too, and then just got pushed back and back and back through fourth and fifth point, which were right one after another. Well, we missed the push on the last point. I hope WP Ohio had that covered while I was looking into detail at the tank setup. And yeah, GG's to both teams. Great play from sixth. I think not for a second there was, a moment where they let ANZR push them back or provide any threat to the points. And that's gonna be it. Thanks for tuning in